Hey folks, this is Vint with Ads Gaming Addiction, and once again, we're gonna play 5D chess with Multiverse time travel. So in the last video, we tackled the Rook tactics and the Knight tactics puzzles, though we didn't get through some of them. I don't claim to be an expert on this game by any means, but we got through most of them, and I consider that, well, a win of sorts. So what we're gonna do today is maybe take a look at the bishop tactics and see if we can get through those. These combination attacks, mate in 2, I don't know if we're going to be able to do those. I seem to be able to handle the ones that are mate in 1, but the mate in 2, that's tough because there are so many different, well, combinations of moves you could make. And then when the king starts flying through time to different boards, it gets, well, you know how it is. So let's go ahead and take a look at the bishop tactics 1. And see if we can figure this one out. Okay, so, what do we got going on here? So I'm thinking that's it there. Typically when a bishop moves through time, it moves one space up or one space left, and then the act of moving through time consumes the remaining part of that diagonal. Typically a bishop moves along its diagonal like this. But whenever it's moving through time, in this case, if we put it here, in theory, it would be attacking the space above it in the past, but let's see how that plays out. Yeah, see? So this bishop here is attacking the king in the past, and there's nothing the king can do about it, because this white king is protecting the bishop. So, like I said, bishops move diagonally typically in the same dimensional board, but whenever it's moving through time, it moves up one space and then through time the next, or left one space on one board and then through time. So it doesn't complete the diagonal, basically. So there's that. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one. Alright, this is a mate in 1 situation. So I wonder if we can move this. See, no matter where we move this bishop, the king can just take it on the current board. So I don't think this is the correct move. So we're going to have to move it through time, probably. Let's see. How would that be mate in 1? I mean, it's not really it's attacking the king in the future, but I don't think that's the correct move. Oh, here we go with this. Yeah, I didn't think that would be it. Okay, so maybe I was wrong. Maybe we do have to move it along this plane here. Well, if I move it here, that attacks the king in the past. So let's try that. The king could probably just take it, though. Yeah, so there's no... Yeah, that's not correct. Moving it here... In theory, that attacks the king in the past here. Because when I submit this move, it's going to be going 2 boards backward through time. So, again, think of the bishop as moving 2 spaces per turn. One orthogonal and then the other orthogonal in the other direction to make it a diagonal. So I'm thinking this is the correct move here because it would be on this white spot right here, and then it would be here. It would be attacking this spot in the past. I'm pretty sure this is the right move. Yes. Okay, so again, if we play that out, the bishop is attacking the king in the past. It's crazy. So, yeah, alright. Yeah, 1 space there, 1 space there. And because we're moving 2 boards backwards. And we're only counting our boards, the white bordered boards. So again, this board here, it would be here on this white spot, and that coordinate is C2. And then on this board, it would be, in theory, on D2, which is where the enemy king is at that point in time. Finish puzzle. Okay. Bishop tactics 3, mate in 1. Alright, so I'm guessing I'm black in this situation. So how would I do this? Oh, the bishop is there. We're only moving one board. Like, we would only be moving one board into the pass, so we need to move on to a spot that would be attacking the king directly. The other option is... If I move the king here, I'm just curious, that just protects the bishop. I don't think that's it, honestly. Oh, it is! Okay. Reason being, the bishop is already in a position to attack the king in the past. Let's go ahead and reset the puzzle. So, right now, the bishop is not attacking the king, but if it stays where it is, it will have been attacking the king in the past. Does that make any sense? In the future, okay, if the bishop stays where it is, it can go back in time and attack the king where it sits. So we just simply had to protect the bishop from being taken, which is what I did. Isn't that not? That's just crazy. It's just amazing. Okay. Finish puzzle. So we gotta actually throw all the bishops. Doesn't look like there's a whole lot of those. Let's try a combination attack where there's a mate in one. Oh my goodness. I have no idea. Oh my goodness. These are going to be ridiculous. So we have to move on these three boards in such a way where that king is checkmated up there. And it's a forced mate situation. So these pawns are attacking these squares here. This king is preventing this king from traveling through time, so it's attacking these squares. So I think what we need to do is move... This knight, I'm thinking... Can we move that through time and attack it? By moving that here, that would not work. It's more of a stalemate. We need to attack the king in the past. I mean, moving this pawn forward too is silly because that would just take... One of these pawns would take it. Now, can we move one of those pawns into the future? We could do that, but I don't think that's the correct move either. I don't think moving a pawn into the future is the correct way to do this. Because, again, watch, if we did something like this... okay. Yeah, and then we can't submit the moves until the present is completely done. All of the moves on the present have not been completed yet. So we have to move something here. What if we moved a piece from that board onto this board? Because that knight's not doing anything. What if we just moved it here? Or here, actually. To prevent it from going down. I think that's actually a good move here. Okay, so let's submit. Yeah. Puzzle incomplete. Yeah, okay. So I figured that pawn move was not the correct move. I'm pretty sure I'm onto something here with this. That stops the king from moving down on its current board, but what's to stop it from going to the right? And what's that all about? Oh, the rook is attacking the king there. Interesting. So it seems like we have to do something about that. Huh. That is ridiculous. So maybe we have to move the king on this board to prevent the check in the first place. Let's move it to the side. It's either that or we can't take the rook on the current board as far as I can tell. So maybe moving the king to the side to prevent that mate. And that leaves these two boards. Wow, that's crazy. There's no way for me to attack the king where it stands right now. What if I moved the king through time? See, if I do that and move it here, I mean, that's illegal because the king can attack that king through time. Yeah. So I don't think that's a solution either. If we don't do anything about this, let's just say we do that. That rook can still go after this king, and there's no way that I can tell that I can take it. Yeah, see, now it's going, oh, nope, that's bad, because look, that rook is attacking that. So we need to either move the king out of harm's way or take it. And I see no way to actually take the rook at this point in time. None of these pawns, yeah, so we have to move the king. It's just something we have to do. We moved it there. What if we did that? No, I don't think that, yeah, that king can't take that king there, so, undo. No, I wonder if there's a way to move a pawn from this board onto that board. There is, but I don't think... Oh, this is going to be a tough one, folks. Again, he'll just take that. Like, there's no point to doing that. This is a mate in one. That's ridiculous. I know that's not correct. Yeah, puzzle incomplete. None of these pawns... Okay, so maybe... I did that. Actually, you know what? Can we move the knight onto this board? Like that? But that rook is still attacking that king. So, and there's... Yeah, so there's nothing we can do about it since we messed with this board already. And there's no way this rook... Yeah, so... We have to do this in logical order, I think. I think we need to... we need to get the king out of harm's way. I think that's the first thing we need to do. The question is, where do we put it? There's no way to take this rook. It's not like we can move it through time and take it. If we move this king through time, that, I mean, the pawns are just gonna beat the crap out of it. So I'm thinking, if we move it through time, maybe take that. That branches that off into its own timeline, and they're all purple, so they all matter. This knight is stopping the king. Okay. Like, this knight is not doing anything. It'd be nice to be able to use it for something. And that leaves this board here, which... Like, I don't know what to do about that. Submit. Yeah, so that's not correct either. Well, these combination attacks, it's pretty nasty. Okay. So, what if we somehow blocked the rook from attacking the king on this other board? Okay, so for example, all we need to do, like, if we check the king, then it won't matter what my opponent does here. So, why don't we... Okay, so in theory, the rook is attacking the b3 space through time, but with this pawn being here now, it'll have to go through that before it gets to the king. So maybe that's the whole purpose of this board, is just to simply block the check. So now we need to find a way to attack the king here. I have no pieces left to do that unless I can use the knight to possibly attack him through time. Okay, so let's think about it. If I put it here, that puts it into a position to attack it in the past. Alright, yeah, because look, this knight, again, when it moves back in time, it moves a total of 3 spaces, and one of those spaces is going to be the act of traveling through time, so that leaves 2. So I'm thinking this knight here, 1, 2, and then through time, bam. I'm thinking this is it. And there's no red exclamation point, so I'm thinking this pawn effectively blocks that rook from attacking my king. Ah, look at that! It is! Okay, look at that. Well done. Well done. Okay. Wow. That's crazy! Absolutely crazy. Let's try this other mate in one. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I'm guessing I'm black? Okay. So I need to find a way to checkmate the king. Okay, on its current board, I mean, this is a check, but he can move down one. I mean, that's kind of silly. And I can't manipulate the pawn in any way to move it through time. I can move the rook through time. The question is, what space would be... I mean, that does nothing. It's not attacking the king at all. So part of me is like... Part of me just wants to move the king. Alright, what's... Okay, is there any spot where our rook was that it is attacking the enemy king? And at any point in the past? It doesn't look like it. Because the rook... Or the king is there, so can we attack... Can we attack these... Can we attack the d4 space with where we're at? No, the d4 space is there. We can't move the rook there to attack it. The king has been on the c2 space. Can we move the rook somewhere to attack that? No. It is now... Man, okay. Well, let's just now experiment just to see. If we submit that move, yeah, see, that's nothing. If we check here, it just, yeah. So, if we did that... So I think time travel here is the way to go. I just... Which board do we move it to? If we move it to this board... The king is still not under attack here. So, yeah, that's just... That doesn't make any sense. If we moved it to this board over here, he's still not in check. So... Okay. Why? How did that work? Alright, let's see what arrow this points to. Oh, it's a... What? Wait a minute. Okay, alright. So I stumbled upon the solution, but let's try and figure out why. Okay. So, in the current timeline, let's reset the puzzle. In the current timeline, there's no way for the rook to attack the king. As we sort of reasoned out before we started messing with things, no matter where we move the rook, it's not attacking the king through time. So I'm guessing the game's like, okay, no, you need to use a different piece to attack the king through time. But at this moment, the pawns do not exist. The only pawn that exists is this one. So we had to make the rook travel through time back to a spot where a pawn did exist. And then, by extension, that pawn, which is now existent on this timeline, can attack the king through time when it was on the c3 space, which is here. That makes sense. Okay. Isn't that something? That is just crazy. Like, I never thought about, like, attacking in the future. Like, I'm used to attacking pieces in the past, but this pawn is attacking this king in the future. Which I didn't realize was possible. I thought you could only go backwards with this. That is something else. Oh my gosh. Wow. Alright. That is some silly stuff. There's a mate in 2 here and a mate in 2 here. Let's just look at it. I'm not going to guarantee anything at this point. So this would be a check here. We can move our knight. That would be stalemate. No, he can move here. Let's do... Yeah, that's not going to work. That's stalemate. No, he can move the pawn up. Like, we need to limit the king's movement here, I think. I'm just curious to see what our options are. Okay. With that pawn moved forward, can we move this knight through time to attack it somewhere in the past? Like if we moved it... No. That wouldn't do it. Okay, so I don't think that's the right solution. I think this knight is going to be the way to do it. Let's submit moves. It's going to move there. And if we moved that through time, if we moved it here, but no, that's not what we want. We're not attacking the king through time that way. And we're not even using the rook. So I don't think that's the correct... I think we need to move the rook once to limit what the king can do. And then somehow, like if we did this... So we have to force it over... Okay, so now can we do something with this current knight to... If we moved it here, wouldn't that be attacking? I don't think so. Oh, let's see. I thought so. Okay, because by moving it here, we're attacking the king in the past. Let's do that. See? So from this board, it would move 2 spaces forward and then backwards through time here to attack the king. Okay. So I'm surprised we actually got that one done. I think that's my first mate in 2 that I've ever done on this entire puzzle board. Oh no, there's a Rook Tactics mate in 2 that I did. Okay. Yeah, I'm not even looking at this knight mate in 3 crap. That's crazy. Alright. So, what do we got going on here? More combination attacks. So I think what we need to do is find a way to place a bishop in a spot where it can attack the king in the past. So I think we need to limit... We need to find a way to limit the king's moves. If we moved it through time and attacked it here... Now... I don't think that's the right move, honestly. I mean, because black now has this board here, and he's free to move on it and not be checkmated. I mean, let's just mess around with it. I can move it over to the right one by moving it through time. Let's try that. But that board won't matter now because, yeah, I've traveled too much. That's not it. Yeah, reset puzzle. But I think part of this is moving it through time sideways onto the correct color. So I'm thinking we do this with it. Submit. It checked. Okay. So now we have to... Here's the thing. If I move that here, he would just... Oh, I think that would be checkmate. Unless he moves it through time. Can he do that? Yeah, he can also... Yeah, alright, so that's not it. I mean, I think I'm onto something with that, though. Again, let's try that. But is there a way for me to attack the king where it stands now? If I move the king up here, won't that attack this spot in the past? No. Well, even if it did, he could move. Having that rook over here to the right was very important. I think we're on the right track, but maybe part of it is moving it through time into this timeline. But then what about this timeline? Like, if we're going to be jumping timelines, we need to have pieces in the right places in both timelines. Because now this one, yeah, submit. And now if we move this one through time here to check him, he'd still move, he'd move down. Yeah, see, that's not... I don't think 2 time jumps here is the way to go. But I could be wrong about that. That's crazy stuff. Unless we find a way to attack the king in the... Maybe if we force it out of that location, then we can move the rook up to attack the king in the past. So what if we did this? If we did that, right? Submit. Now it has to move out of that spot. Oh. Well, that blows that one. I was gonna move this rook up, but I forgot. Okay. Yeah, that's not it either. What if we moved it... I think we already tried this. Putting the bishop there to attack the king, but he would just move it, right? He just takes it. Because what I was trying to do here was attack the king on a different board, but there's nothing stopping him from just taking it by swapping again. Wow. This puzzle may take me a little longer to figure out, and we're already about a half an hour into this particular video, so I'm going to call it quits here. I still think we got somewhat far. We got through the bishops, and we got through most of the combination attacks. We still have yet to do the back ranks, and the queen, and the king, opening traps, tricky checkmates, and advanced branching. So yeah, small victory today. If you guys haven't already, subscribed to me on Twitch and YouTube. That way you can stay up to date with any new content I'm going to publish. This is Vince, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.